Welcome to the 290 Mo podcast. I appreciate your time. If you could, introduce yourself to my viewers and listeners.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. You got Nino Mello rocking with you in the building, man. Shit, all platforms is Nino Mello just to make it easier for everybody and myself. iTunes album just came out, Inertia. Go look that word up if you don't know it for sure. But definitely, the album itself definitely reflect what we finna get into today. So I don't even want to talk about the music. I want to talk about how the music and the propaganda influence all of us in the culture today, man.
For sure, for sure. So before we get into the mission, real quick, just keep everything in motion. How we run the show, man. So real quick, just for the viewers and listeners who may not know you, man, where you from, where you grew up.
So shit, I'm from the south side of Chicago. 87, 88 to be exact. Cross Ashley, if you know the gang.
Mm-hmm.
It's you know, grew up, shit, just probably most just like everybody. Born in the 90s, 95. So everybody grew up with their grandmas. Uh, Pops weren't really there. OG was doing her thing, so you know.
What about your aspirations as a shorty? You know what I'm saying? Any hoop dreams? Any doctor lawyer type deals as a little shorty when they told you could be anything you could be? What was you inspired to be?
Shit, I ain't even gonna lie right now. Put a ball in my hand, I still damn near got a hoop
Oh,
dream.
there you
Let
go.
me tell it, you
I
feel me?
feel the same way on short. As soon as I touch the court,
Hey,
what they say, I be that the old head. They be like, "Hey, pass me the ball, shorty.
hey, you hear me?
Shoot that motherfucker and miss."
It's for you, shorty. And missed it, motherfucker.
Oh, shorty. But no, man. So did you go deep in anything, any type on some basketball shit, or you just
I hooped on a couple teams for sure. AAU as far as like my freshman year, a couple sports, but just to keep myself busy, just to make my what I'm saying, my granny just to say I did something.
Mhm,
I like when she said I was doing something. So
mhm. For sure.
other than that, nah, I ain't really getting into no sports.
For sure. And I'm gonna keep this joint rolling because I definitely want to get into the mission, man. So, how did you get into music, man? I know it's a lot of things for a young brother to get into the city, man. So, what made you get in the booth, man, and pick up a pen?
So
Twist that mic towards you a little bit.
for sure. So basically, just like anybody else got into music, they got inspired by somebody that they see could relate to them and see they could do it, and they probably seen it easy in themselves. Not saying that it's easy in itself, but like my favorite rapper all time, for real, for real. Nobody can't tell me nothing about him. It's Lil Wayne. You feel?
Oh yeah, he the goat. Wayne the goat.
Come on, man. Bars on top
Goat.
of bars.
Bars, catalog,
Still thinking this shit that your favorite rapper.
rock and roll, all that shit.
Come on,
He the
man.
goat.
So, but then you get into the artistry of it, and you get to appreciate the sound quality of it, like the Kanye's.
Yeah, for sure.
You get to appreciate the artistry of people's different styles, like the Twisters, and I'm naming all Chicago people.
Like
You
Keith.
know, you definitely got to name the Keith because he brought in a new sound where it was so simplified. What they say, simple but effective. God damn it,
He created a
simple
monster.
but effective, and it let people know that they could do it. It opened up the doors, and that's what I liked about hip hop, poetry in itself, but hip hop for sure.
For sure. For sure. So how did was it you said poetry is itself? Was did you start with poetry or you just started writing rhymes and matter of fact, even a better question, how did you end up, can you remember your first time getting in the booth? Was it, you know what I'm saying? Was it your own dime? Somebody brought you? What was
So somebody bought me only because I kept asking.
mm,
So I was always yearning for it. I knew I was gonna be at least. I knew I had the penmanship. I definitely know I had the penmanship. The thing, anytime going in the booth, and that's still to this day, you got to go in there with some confidence. You got to go in there knowing and loving your craft, no matter the critics.
for sure.
So that's still the same dilemma I face, even still to this day. But same thing to this day, I still want to go to the studio. That's my thing. That's my niche.
Mm-hmm.
And the music, like I said, that I want to put out is the same thing that I put in myself. So it'll be, my music is very versatile. I sing also. Certain people know that. I got a lot of listeners, so they people know. But the craft is all in the intent of the music and why you want to put it out. Why do I want the listener to do it? What audience I want to, go towards. And I always want to stay true to myself, and that's why today I said we're gonna talk about this history because most of my music is um, ancestral. it's something beyond me. It goes beyond my time. That's what people say. So I'm gonna use their words with me, not against me. Certain people say I'm ahead of my time, but I just think that I'm aware of the present enough to, have the intent to know what I'm gonna do next.
Mhm.
So for sure.
For sure. Let me ask you this. I talk to a lot of artists and they talk about and we discuss the evolution of their career, you know what I'm saying? As far as their name might have been different when they started out, or they might have been recording at their homie basement, now they record at the studio. If you could talk to me about your subject matter when you first started, you know what I'm saying, making music, or was it always what you got going on now? And if it wasn't, you know what I'm saying, what made you, you know what I'm saying, put that type of music out, especially in an age where, you know what I'm saying, the drill and the vulgar is what's taking over, you know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
how did that happen?
So my first couple songs, man, definitely was early 2012, 2013. So, the drill scene was definitely hot.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely the beats right before that, or the comparison, the instrumentals that we was trying to even do was the Drakes, the industry beats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We felt like these Chicago beats was more closer to home and more simplified, even due to the people that we knew next door to us, ironically or metaphorically,
Mm-hmm.
was doing it just like us, or we could do it just like them because they was from the same city. It showed the city hope. And it definitely shed a light to the point that everybody from the city got on during that time.
Mm-hmm.
From individuals to their team, they got on because of an individual sound.
Cameraman, all that shit. I'm sure the DJs, radio hosts, all that shit. I'm
To
sure.
the point that Chicago became its own mecca due to its performing arts, like
Mm-hmm.
it's always been.
Always been.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
history just repeats itself. I'm just another, entity coming
Mm-hmm.
and floating and going.
For sure, for sure. So, before we get into the mission, man, um, with doing music, you know what I'm saying? It's music is highly subjective, you know what I'm saying? And it's another question that I ask a lot of artists that come through as well. Um, what's your um outlook on your peers that's in the industry that you're a part of musically, you know what I'm saying? Especially with the vibe, how you coming, you know what I'm saying? Is everything cool? Is it, you know what I'm saying, motherfuckers weird, or you don't fuck with a motherfucker unless they got a certain message? Like what's your opinion on your peers?
So that's the thing that I love about music too, like the freedom to express yourself.
Mm,
You know, you never want to box nobody in, especially if you want to feature with them or if they're your homies, because they're your homies for a reason too. Birds of a feather flock together.
facts.
So in certain type of way, whether he rap like that or talk like that, you hang with him for some of his actions that he do and say. So uh, I never really had that problem because I don't really, try to box nobody in on their art.
Mm,
My bad. I don't really try to box nobody in on their art. So yeah, I don't really have that problem, and then I try to just kill it anyway and try to focus on my craft even when features, you know.
mm,
Try
okay.
not to, try not to be the weird one.
Mm, okay. Okay, for sure, man. So uh now you reached out to me, you know what I'm saying? You reached out to me and you first of all, the reason I created a platform is for people who didn't have a platform, you know what I'm saying? For everybody, you know what I'm saying? So the
Appreciate
way you came, I was like, I'm already with that on shorty. So and then you put on, you know what I'm saying, the circles you ran in and stuff like that. And this and you put it so lightly, but even to me, it's a big deal to me, you know what I'm saying? Cause I call myself doing research. Like I've seen, you know what I'm saying, hidden colors and stuff, and I'm seeing Umar Johnson and stuff like that. And and I wonder why other black people don't even see stuff like this and think half the way, you know what I'm saying? They like you don't gotta believe everything they say, but just take, you know what I'm saying, eat the meat and spit out the bones, you know what I'm saying? And maybe, you know what I'm saying, as a people we could start to get better, man. So if you could, uh just talk to me real quick. How did you end up, you know what I'm saying, being a part of Hidden Colors?
So to speak on the last thing that you just said, just piggybacking.
Pardon, boy.
Yes, sir. I was I think it's an age thing. You think as a boy, because you are a boy, but you as you come a man, you think of as a man. So I think the same crisis is just repeating itself. We looking down upon the younger generation because they yet not know yet. We come from a generation where the technology didn't have a hold of us, so we went outside to actually experience hands-on situations. Now, me, I was a mixture of both. So I had a consciousness. So the way I even ran into Dr. Umar Johnson is I used to, even still to this day, sorry, shout out to my job. Nah, never mind. So I used to always smoke, like, and come back to school. I used to always ditch school, lunch period. Go grab a
Damn,
lunch.
school.
School, high school, elementary. I've been smoking since probably like, if you can't tell too, bro, I'm tatted from like head to motherfucking toes, and I've been tatted since probably about 12 or 13. So I really didn't have no proper guidance, but the guidance that I had was my consciousness for sure, because I made every decision for myself, but I made sure that I made it right for myself. You get what I'm saying?
That's why how you said that off camera. I was like, cause I thought that shit too. Like, nigga, if I ditch, I ain't coming back. It is over with on shorty. Once I found out after football season, once I, you could walk out of high school and ain't nobody gonna tell you stop or hey, where you going? What? What? On shorty, who crib? Who mama at work on shorty? Who?
Hey, you hear me?
On shorty.
And living in the hood, matter of fact, my bad. But just know the background is me coming from, the hood and really some hood scholars though too.
Mm-hmm.
Do your research on my hood, because we really in the gang itself. If you know, you know. But the gang itself still come from their old school teaching. You still have to even be walking away and talking away to even, we recognize a brother, just like a Mason would in the streets. And y'all know who I'm talking about. We know who we talking about. Y'all know who I am. But yeah, I was a bad kid that still got some good grades, average grades, or above average, B, with a little A here and there, but a couple B's and C's, right? Average student. And they used to always say, of course I'm coming back to probably that other period a little bit late too. I'm timing it, of course. You know what I'm saying? I'm smart as hell to ditch and come back. I'm smart as hell to time some shit. But I'm coming back a little bit late because sometimes, circumstances, you got to sneak back in them.
We have before school. I'm sure.
Sometimes I did.
Yeah.
Sometimes I did. But sometimes I was one of them
Stressed
students
out. Get out and take a break. That was.
I couldn't get high that early because I'll be stuck being that young. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I was a rookie back then. I was a real rookie. So
I'm sure. My fault, brother.
making me admit shit on camera. But real rookie back then. But I was still smoking to myself, or I ain't really need a crowd. I did it by myself to think just as much as I do it now. You know what I'm saying? I was still this mature guy. So I'm coming back to school and I'm doing my thing. One day I get caught. And they give me in-school suspension. They never suspended me. But they gave me in-school suspension one day. And they came to talk to me. And they asked me. They showed me the cameras and everything. Why do you always come back? I said, I did this homework last night. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Or, man, I had history too. History was my favorite.
Like, why y'all tripping? I came back. I'm sure.
That's what I said too. Not to say that on camera, for the
even
kids,
did
for you,
you,
but I even came back and I was like, I was trying to plead my case like a mug, high in their face as a kid. Now that I'm really looking back on it, like I'm high as a motherfucker trying to tell some adults, like, I don't know what.
As soon as you walk out there, like, this nigga high as hell.
You know what I'm saying? Little motherfucker. But they respected it. So they put me in this program called Cultural Calm.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the program that Dr. Umar Johnson and another guy at the time that I did not know he was at the time, Tariq Nasheed. That's another person I forgot to mention. Tariq Nasheed. And there was another person on the team, I forgot her name, very intelligent lady that also traveled with us. We traveled, basically, I don't want to undermine it and call it a college tour, but you can basically put it in that mind frame of how we travel.
Had you heard anything like that before then?
Youth centers and everything, yeah, and certain
Not youth centers, but like the shit that they would, not the shit, but the stuff that they was talking about on Hidden Colors. Like, was that stuff new to you, or did you hear like I bumped into the Israelites on 95th before, like when I was a shorty, just on the train. I was like, oh yeah, that shit dope as hell on shorty.
So I come from one of those old school cribs, not saying militant or very disciplined like that, but we still watch Good Times in the house.
Yeah.
We still watch,
Shorty.
dig what I'm saying? So
Did your chores.
everything that I was getting was not the propaganda that the kids are getting today. The kids are getting propaganda that another YouTuber of our youth put together of what they seen. Somebody actually put a tape in front of me and was like, this is that.
Mm-hmm.
No edit, no nothing. Here. So I seen the Malcolm X's, I seen the Marcus Garveys, I seen the James Baldwins, I seen the Martins, I seen the, you
I
know.
even seen a Jeff Fort documentary on tape.
We don't want to get into the games because I can really tell people why they even chose their stars, and it gets into a very spiritual
Yeah,
detail of history.
man, Joe. That's why I say even the stars, shorty. Now that I done been doing like, I do my own research. Like I didn't try to like. My father, he was a like a preacher in a church, and when he died, like out of nowhere, I started doing my own journey. Like, let me see what the Muslims talking about. Let me see what the Christians talking about. I picked up a Bible and just started reading page one to the end, but I bumped into a verse where it was like, "Slave, obey your master." I closed it. Went on to the Muslims. I went to the Muslims, doing research, found out about Farouk Muhammad. I really ain't like how he was coming. I was going from that.
Research.
I
If you know, you know.
bumped into Polite. Polite, he was on there, he was on fire and shit. But then I see when the Israelites come rip his ass apart. So then
If you know, you know.
come fucking with the Israelites. I'm fucking with the Israelites tough. But then they start gang banging. I'm like, brother, oh sure, I made it out the war. Watch out. I'm like, nah, man. I was fucking with everything I was doing, but then y'all started gang banging on me. Y'all fighting the Israelites that wear purple because they standing on y'all corner. Bro, we already, that's what we,
Sound like a spiritual game to me.
that sound like the same thing I made it out of, brother. I'm not finna fight these niggas. I made it out of fighting over corners already.
But one thing that we do need is some type of because everybody nowadays is saying the cliche thing of, oh, I'm more spiritual than anything, man. Or you know, coming from a female, I'm more spiritual, I'm more spiritual.
I'm a student, man. I'm just eating meat and spitting out the bones, man. I don't know shit, Joe.
But the practice of spirituality is ritual or slash religion. So naturally, you got to get back to religion. That's what this whole focus of people driving it in your face. Now, like you said, you know,
The thing with religion is it's 562 of them. That's the thing with religion. That's the thing. Everybody already. My grandma was this. My grandma was that. Is tough. It's like the gang situation. We're gonna get into that because you say you got solutions and shit, but it's tough. That shit like blood ties and that shit, shorty.
man, and that's what the psychology I wanted to get into called hate versus hurt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, reconciling, learning how to give an apology, accept an apology, you know, dealing with it eternally, you know. Uh, a lot of us don't really go through counseling through our life as black people, men and women. We don't go through counseling itself for what you think? School counseling, and if you married, if you're lucky enough to be married,
Never
marriage
been through
counseling.
no counseling.
No, you've been through school counseling when they had to take you through your home ec and ask you how you
It wasn't like counseling, like how you doing, like how's your man, you know what I'm saying? No shit like that. You know, that's what I think counseling when I think of that's not
so
counseling.
that is, but in hindsight, were you really that interactive with that person to be open like that? In hindsight, looking back,
Of course not.
I wasn't either. So they were there.
Cause they
They
was
just didn't open up.
but
And I,
they was
in hindsight, I had to accept that too in myself.
it was never it was never a connection though. Like they never related to me. Like when I left, I know when this bell ring, we going to two different places. I knew that early. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm not finna. My mom already told me not to tell y'all shit that going up in the house on shorty from a shorty. So it's like from a shorty. It's like it might be instilled. It might be you know what I'm saying instilled in us.
So and exactly. So it's and that's why self reflection does something. But I'm gonna get into that later. The hate versus hurt thing, where the psychology of, you know, like I said, the counseling. We don't really get counseling unless majority of us, I ain't gonna say most of us, but you know, same thing.
Most of us.
Get school counseling, or some of us, if we lucky enough to get married, get marriage counseling. So we learn how to reconcile and give an apology. Learn how to accept some bullshit in the marriage or inside of school or whatever high school problem you got going on, because that's the only time you're going to deal with it, and be open enough to talk about it and somebody give you an answer. And then the other time somebody is giving you unwanted advice, and those are the people that's don't have your best interest. They might see it as love, but everybody love or conditions of love ain't the same. Everybody got different what they call it, definitely agendas, because especially if they see you as a new fresh to the world, They watched you grow up anyway. You just ain't even know it. You was ready to hop off the porch, but and they had been out there. They know you admire that shit. They seen you getting ready, and that's how it be. Sometime where we forget who to listen to. That's why this generation only listen to the streets. They disrespect their parents because the parents also left God out of the equation. Or spirit. My bad. Because I don't want to say God for nobody, but spirit. Spirit is everywhere, so I'm gonna say that.
I agree with you. I agree with you. But let me pose this point to you. You know what I'm saying? So, um, I know, like me and a lot of brothers, you know what I'm saying, grew up and was raised by our mothers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like my father, he was around early. He was in jail a lot of part his early life, and then when I was like 16, he came back around. He tried to stand on business, but he passed away like 2 years.
I'd say, then you say he was a pastor?
Yeah, I'm saying he came. That's what he came back, tried to, and he was in a halfway house in Indianapolis. Became a pastor. Came back to Chicago. Was at
That's
my
real
grandma's
shit.
church and shit.
Changed though.
But he passed away like in the midst of his glow. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to
Sorry to hear
know?
that too.
Yeah,
RP for sure.
gratitude, man, gratitude. So and matter of fact, this is yet a better question. When you doing shit, not shit like this, but when you doing stuff like this, what was your family response first of all when you after you know what I'm saying when you was taught one thing or was you always taught this?
So no, I was definitely taught like a traditional Baptist home. You feel me? I grew up in my grandma's home. So
Like was it taboo to the family? Like was they like, boy, what you?
oh no. It definitely was they said that I always taught different, smart, always had a different thought pattern on the way I got to a conclusion, but I always did it. Even down to the little toys in the crib. I didn't have toys. I had knickknacks. Once you're done with the tissue roll, I'm finna make some binoculars out the tape and all that shit. Even though I got toys up there, I'm still, innovative or whatnot. You feel me? Just in hindsight, I'm looking back. I'm tooting my own horn now, but looking back then, I'm like, I ain't know I was doing all that. This my. So, uh, but I knew we was always native. They always said that. I guess, always ignored it because of mainstream ideology. I got indoctrinated, which is why I had to, go on my own research and do my own thing because I had to let go some of the heroes like Martin Luther King. I had to let go some of the Marcus Garveys. Not because of no cliche agenda, Illuminati thing, but they study long, but they study wrong. They got indoctrinated. They got genius in the fact of what the Americans gave. So they're just like me going to school, becoming a genius in the ideology and to capitalize off what they already taught me to already regurgitate back to everybody.
But
That's not a free spirit of free speech. Free speech is what I know for experience to know for the real change to happen because I seen the formula happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm on.
for sure, man. When also and what why I lost my train of thought. But what I brought up my father was because one of the reasons why I think a lot of young brothers is lost because, you know what I'm saying, I didn't have no male role model. You know what I'm saying? My mother, she did a hell of a job, you know what I'm saying? And she always stressed me like you come talk to me about anything that's going on, but I'm still not finna talk to you about my dick getting hard
Feel
and this girl that I'm not finna, you know what I'm saying? I'm still, and then so everything I'm learning about how to be a man, how to talk to a woman, how to get a woman, how to get money outside of school and all that shit is shit from outside music and movies.
I was just finna say, as you were talking, I'm like, damn, my
And
favorite song popped on to remind me how to use a condom.
mhm.
My favorite movie popped on for what
Facts.
happened if it do
Facts.
fuck up and you know
Even
what
though
I'm
my
saying?
OG was the one giving me the condoms and was telling me, you know what I'm saying, make sure you know what I'm saying, but I'm still not even telling her I'm using them. On sure, I'm keeping a stash in the crib where I know she getting my laundry and stuff at, but I'm buying them still because I don't even want to talk to her about it type shit. So
So
that's why I think a lot of young brothers get lost there because a lot of them ain't no male role models and that's my OG. She did a great job. I was raised by a woman in a house full of sisters and every chance she got, I was with my
same,
uncles, I
same.
was with my cousins, I was at football practice, I was take them school clothes and go outside, get out of my face, and that's
You
the
had your
difference now.
role as a
You
male
can't
in a
do
crib
that with
full of
these kids
females.
now. Like I can't tell my kids like take them school clothes out and just get out. No cell phone, no location, none of that on just a bike in Chicago. You
Uh,
can't, it's a different time.
my son tire bust and he was like, "What is this?" Man, he was talking about the inner tube.
Man, what? We
When
was
was the last time you flipped your bike over
we
and
was,
had to fix the chain on the
we was
inner
bike
tube?
repairman, man.
I was a damn
I had aluminum foil rims on my bike.
the fuck. I
I
was
had
a
a
real
I
repairman,
had a
man.
speaker on my bike before Bluetooth speakers on Shorty. I had radios. Come on, man.
What do you say, the mongoose? And shit?
Crazy. I was going crazy.
But for real,
It's a
it's the
different
influence,
time.
too. It's that's because I think our generation, meaning me and you, we waited too long to say we the adults now. We still having our vocabulary of look at them old man. And when I get old, man, when it's that time, and it's like, nah, it's that time. You 30. You got a kid. Even if you're not 30, you got a kid.
You know what?
You know what I'm
Another
saying?
thing
Like
that shit indoctrinate into you though.
what to do?
Like I was talking to another brother. Like it was a point in my life where I couldn't imagine being an adult. Like how I think into the future now. I couldn't see past being in my youth, like being, I don't know if I was gonna be dead in jail or what, but I couldn't imagine being grown, paying bills, having kids. It was either this or that. I couldn't even, I didn't even imagine. It wasn't even a thought in my head. It took from me on my OG was like, you gonna go to Job Corps or you finna be homeless. I'm sure I just got kicked. I
But
caught
at
a
least you still had somebody to give you options. You still had a aid in your ear. Picture, somebody who real life disrespects they people so hard that they don't even want to give them advice because they think that they're gonna go to that place and fuck it up. That's how bad this generation have got with their parents, and you feel me? Mind you, we are the parents. It's people that's 35 or 34, 30, 31 with 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds. I have a 10-year-old myself and I'm 29. So just imagine in 2 or 3 more years, I will be that same habit.
I got a 9-year old.
So you dig what I'm saying? So it's the same habit of psychology and the propaganda of the movie and the music thing. It creates a fallacy in the mind because the power of it or the positivity of it is if you can see something that relates to you, it creates that endorphin to really make you go do it in real life because you've seen it fulfilled, even if it was by a movie. It creates that endorphin to really make you get the energy to actually go create the moves to go do it. If you see something that is negatively portrayed on TV, but that may relate to you, in the movie, they put another false sting that makes it unrelatable to you. So they give you, like say for the news, they give you the backstory on the person so they can demonize them. Why do they demonize them? Not because of the color. Let's just take color out of it for a second. They demonize the person or criminalize the person so the person can seem like it's nowhere near that the average person viewing this could come to that conclusion and kill their own kid or do this or do that. So they try to criminalize the person. But if they just put on the news, hey, this person did that, you'll be in the crib wondering, and you're the opposite. I forgot what the chemical reaction that induces fear, but that would go up and your anxiety would go up, just like the happiness of that endorphin. So they knew how to keep a mild temper with the people of the masses, or how to keep a control of mind. So yeah.
So what was the first one? How do you forgive? How do you know what I'm saying, move forward? Like what's the answer?
So the one thing is being comfortable with self. That's always gonna be the first thing when trying to express something outwardly. Anytime you're trying to express anything outwardly, I don't care what it is, in any aspect, you have to reconcile with yourself and accept it in yourself first to do it. So, not accept an apology saying like, "Oh, I want to," he said sorry, or even if the person didn't say something. You have to understand and overstand the situation on a different level more than what you see. As a man, we have insight. Women have intuition. So we have the power to see forward. Any man that expresses his power to only act in the present or impulsively shows an emotion, and that's on his feminine side. I
Facts.
don't think we realize that.
Facts.
I don't think children realize that, and it shows every time that. That's why I really don't have a social media. I have platforms and stuff, but
and
Yeah.
and that's things that I had to learn and teach myself by just seeing the response from, you know what I'm saying, the people around me. Like I still, like, I'm not perfect. I went through a stage where I used to punch walls and yell at my lady and stuff like that, but you know what I'm saying, I didn't have a man to be like, hey, this how you
This ain't
handle
how
a
we.
woman. Get you one woman, treat her right, so that you know you ain't got to worry about who she been with, because you know already, you know what I'm saying, took care of her since you was like, I didn't have nothing. But now that I know, you know what I'm saying, every
Moving.
young boy around me, nephew, son, I'm gonna give them the game that I didn't get. I'm sure I'm gonna show my kids black love. I'm gonna show them, see them kissing on my lady, because I didn't see no man doing that to my mama. I'm sure
Right.
I didn't see that. So I'm gonna make sure that I try to break that cycle as much as possible. And I think that's like the main, that's like the main issue with like our young shorties is the fathers is absent. Like we the parents now, and I know a lot of the parents now who ain't with they baby mamas for whatever reason. If they, for whatever reason, it's crazy. Like this, the
So
ratio to people not becoming families is crazy.
sad, but I was on Twitter and they said we live in an era full of hoes. How could you not have hoes? Ew. And it was funny. And then I thought about it, and I was like, you think of the joke, and the joke is, for everybody who went over everybody head, the joke is like, if it's 2024 and this dude over here is holeless, like he has no bitches and bitches is throwing pussy. That's basically the premises of the joke, right? So it's funny. It's a bittersweet. It's a catch-22 because at least for me, I overthink for everything. So, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what if we really come into and then you listen to the female music or the female artists or female rappers that only promote sex? Now, growing up, the only person that was really promoting sex and all their music was Lil Wayne. He was the only one talking about literally the most explicit shit. You got your trainers, you got your, you got
Yeah,
your other female
other
artists.
than a woman that I could think of, easy was slight, easy slight. That's like back then though. But in our generation, yeah, it's
Our
definitely
generation, you feel me? You really got
for the dude.
vulgar people now just especially talking about, man, my grandma won't let throat baby go.
You gotta get as vulgar as you can be to get popping, no matter what lane you. That's like it's like the, if you gotta have as how many bodies you got, how much you can show on camera if you a woman, or how much you can talk about this.
Why we
That's
can't go the baby route and wear a diaper?
because that's not what
Too
they
much pride.
that's not the agenda they want to push. It's an
So
agenda they want to push. That's why certain people get the spotlight when they get it. That's what I feel like. Like the sexy reds, they ain't gonna push. It's a lot of talented female rappers out here, but they're not gonna push none. They want sexy. They want all little girls to look at sexy red and be like, yeah, that's what I want to be. Instead of being what they really can be and what they should be. That's what I feel like.
see,
Cause the talent, that's subjective. That shit really ain't.
talent is subjective because everybody got the.
That shit ain't really.
I'm gonna say for anybody that's like pushing that agenda, that's because everybody got a mixture of both. Because everybody still want to get to a fan base of still what's core, and everybody at core, no matter if you gothic or let's just say to shorten it up, culturally or religiously, the same thing comes back to people want to have a self identification. So every album is pandered to literally every crowd. So that's why everybody is starting to sound the same. Not because literally everybody is stealing each other's sound, but because of the competition of Drake, of having to have to sound like every sound in the fucking America to actually get on billboards. It got from billboard to actually sound and quality.
That shit don't work on intelligent people, man. That's what I be thinking. I be
That's why
seeing,
Kendrick won. That's why Kendrick won.
I be seeing certain shit, and I just be like, bro, y'all can't be like falling, like even with this like election cycle shit going on, like, bro, y'all cannot be falling for this okie doke shit, bro. Like it's already picking the two between two evils, bro. But it's like
Where the fuck? This the first time in history I ain't never seen like. Wasn't it? Don't it usually be like 8 candidates and down to the final two? Did I miss that? Did I miss that?
yeah, you ain't miss it. Is because it was supposed to be Trump and Biden, but Biden got Alzheimer's. He either got Alzheimer's,
Okay,
dementia,
even with him,
or he
where's
been
other
dead
people?
for the past 6 months. He pulled out the race because he pulled out the race, and Kamala Harris, his vice president, took over. But this, I don't that's a whole nother episode. So let's get to the mission, brother. Let's get to the mission, brother. So what was what was all did the mission entail?
So we get down to, we traveling, and this is the cultural calm thing with Dr. Umar Johnson and everybody, and not to just use his name, clickbait and everything, but just true story, because this what really started the journey of me just trying to get on my individual thought pattern, thought source, and try to be the man that I wanted to be and see in the world of actually, you know, cliche prophecies foretold. You know what I'm saying? That traveling dude, that traveling boy, that traveling man that actually gained all the knowledge and lived perfect. Not live perfect due to how he lived in the past, but how he gained this knowledge and got more better as he went. So, yeah. So I went towards that, and we get down to Atlanta. And the premises of this whole thing was to look for, slave ships, slave ship residue, wreckage, any other art depiction, anything like that. And we just kept, popping up or coming up with the same conclusion of the same artist depiction, And we definitely we got stopped in our process and our tracks. And at that point too, and I don't remember what choice he made, but obviously he made the choice to keep that part in there because even though we found out something different, he still pushed the agenda. And I'm not saying that's nothing negative because it's something positive for us to learn our history and our heritage. I'm just saying when I know I was native, I'm like, that didn't even just apply to me. What that stopped me right that disconnected me right there. Especially getting that was oh, I didn't mention who asked me and questioned that. That was Dick Gregory, RP. He questioned all of us. It was 16 young men who was also on his tour. And yeah, he just questioned all of us and he questioned out loud and we was all just stumped with the question. You know what I mean? Just, what do you mean there's no slave? That's an artist depiction, man. That's not no show me another one. At the time it's 2011, 2013, y'all. So the first iPhone, what is it? iPhone goddamn 4 or 5 is out, y'all. We ain't got that good of a quality and shit. That's
I
all.
didn't find no pictures.
No, we couldn't. No. We couldn't even find really proper research to even back up our claim.
Did
That,
you ever search books for the pictures?
oh yeah, for sure. So at the time in Newly, for sure, like ironically, it was crazy. The Clotilda was coming out at the time, which is like the last slave ship that landed. And I want to say, don't get me mistaken, I want to say Alabama though.
It was coming out. What you
It
mean?
was the last one to be ported in. I want to say, that's what they claim.
The last slave ship.
So that's what they claim. It was called the Clotilda. So cool. Looked that up, tried to trace that back to something, didn't come back to anything. And it wasn't even big enough once we looked it up. It was somebody's personal boat. Once I personally looked it up years later. Also, to add to that, like I said, that was at the same time that we were doing our research. There was no ship records. There's even like Tubi movies and Tubi documentaries on it that, yeah, they still searching for it. Even a town named after these people, but it's all propaganda due to just to keep the slavery, the chattel slavery going because slavery did happen, but not in the way that my granny told me. My granny was born in 1900 September 6th. So
So if you could, you know what I'm saying, like you said, it ain't happen like the way they told you. If you could, because the way they told us, you know what I'm saying, we got the transatlantic slave trade, you know what I'm saying, you even got the slave dungeons in West Africa that you can go visit, you know what I'm saying. What did they teach you about these things that we see, you know what I'm saying, and what are they, you know what I'm saying, as far as like the dungeons and the pictures of the whips on the back and the Roots movies and stuff like what is this?
so of course propaganda at its finest, but we will have to say literally just a wordplay on etymology. Wordplay of how they change the language of things and the ideal of it just changes what it really means to you after you say it. So curse words to somebody else when a female said to each other don't really mean nothing to them and da 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 da. Same with the N word. But the etymology of certain words change up the attitude slash the ideal of what you see, taste, feel, or whatever about it. So the psychology of it or the sociology of it when you get around other people and have to deal with your energy coming out on other people and how society deals with it and vice versa. You would start to think that, okay, my granny always said, And like I said, she was born in 1900, so you can just imagine when her mother was born. You get what I'm saying? She was born. I definitely got the proof to prove it. So you
Right.
know, uh, and she always told me you don't have a friend or a kin in Africa.
Could imagine the story she was telling you about her mother and shit like that.
See,
About her growing up.
I don't want to repeat it because you know how grannies be telling
Yeah, man, we
stories.
be here. I don't know. I'm just because I imagine my great grandmother telling me stories about her picking cotton for a nickel an
How old
hour.
is she? How old?
She
What
passed
is she?
away. She was 89 when she passed away, I believe. 89
See,
when she passed
and
away.
that's old enough. That means she was born at least in like 1932,
Mhm.
1940
I
something.
want to say 19 teen something, like if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken. When she passed away probably like 15 years ago at this
So
point.
she in the same boat as if like my that's my third time
I
grandma.
wasn't appreciating it like
Me
that.
neither.
Like she
Me
was
neither.
elderly in her chair. My mom was sit right here while she was handling her business, washing the dishes and
'Cause that's
stuff.
just your mother's
And
grandma, right?
right, and she just telling me the
Stop
stories,
playing.
and I'm just like,
Stop
some
playing.
of them interesting. Like when I'm like, you pick cotton, and she was like, yeah, like stuff like that. But I wasn't appreciating like the way like now I'll probably have a notebook. I'll be recording her like I'm recording you at this point. But
Do you hear me,
I
bro?
don't know
Do you
like
hear me, bro?
what I know
So
now.
my grandma was a tobacco chewing, long, silky haired, high cheekbone,
My
copper
girl grandma,
colored.
true, right to this
Do you
day.
hear me? Copper colored lady, short young lady who only did natural herbs for her things.
Mhm.
We only ate natural shit natural stuff when we went over there, and had to respect the lady. Just like I said, everything that I'm talking about is in hindsight. I might sound intelligent as if I noticed it in the present, in the moment,
Yeah,
at that
for
moment,
sure.
but I'm glad I got the memory that I do to actually go back into my memory bank and unload the files to actually, you know what I'm saying, self-reflect on the things that I could apply today. That's what they were there for anyway.
Mhm.
So, you know what I'm saying, shout out to the people that was talking because I definitely was listening. But uh, even beyond that though, so the slavery thing that she was telling me, Native Americans used to be on concentration camps because of, do you know the woman of Fannie Lou Hammer? You ever heard of her? Famous lady.
It sounds familiar, but it's not ringing. It's not.
So long story short, right before she was doing an interview on voting, because remember at the time we was trying to vote during like the early 1900s, and we were getting lynched for just trying to vote. And I had to ask myself, who and what white man were we trying to vote for that bad that we were getting killed for it? Like we were lining up to go vote? The fuck for what man? And it led me to go, it wasn't even a man. And this is something that most public don't even know. This is a research that people need to research though, like for real, for real. Most people don't know that we were trying to get first class citizenship because a new farmers law had got passed during that time where you couldn't own your land anymore and make profit off your land. Remember, grandparents used to say, "I built this land from the ground up and da da da, and my land been here for generations and da da da." That law got passed years ago.
Mhm.
Years, years, years. Even when your grandparents was talking about it, they were still talking about their childhood
Yeah.
because that law had been got passed in
Yeah,
the
for sure.
1920s.
They all moved to Chicago to work in the factories.
That's when the Great Chicago Migration happened, but there was also a propaganda because of the concentration camps of Native Americans. People were still claiming the native tribes to the point that if you look at the census of the early 1800s and 1900s, the first census was in 1790. First census in 1790 didn't even have native people on it. It just had free whites, slave whites. It had free blacks and then other. And then it had natives and then it had savages. And then it went every 10 years just how it does now. And they changed our name every 10 years, even up to this day. Even if you look at the census that just went past in 2020, you don't see black on there anymore.
Let me ask you this.
They keep changing our name.
What if you know what is the point of faking the slave trade? What is the point of the propaganda? Why if people like your ancestors knew of our heritage the whole time, how does a thing, you know what I'm saying, like segregation even happen? You know what I'm saying? Like
Forcefully.
the Nat Turner, the
Forcefully.
revolts and stuff like that. Like why was it a big thing to even integrate with these people if we already had a, you know what I'm saying, knew who we are and all this shit?
So the integration, remember, only happened one time period in our life, and it happened as like a ticking time bomb for nobody to even want. It only happened in the 50s, and it didn't happen because of the older generation been wanting that for a long time. It was never like that.
Yeah,
It was the
I
younger
hear.
people. It was the SNCC. It
I hear
was
a lot of motherfuckers
SN,
weren't fucking with King on short.
but they were because King was ahead of this operation. Not even ahead of. He was a part of this operation called SNCC. The acronym SNCC, SNICC, the same part of Stokely Carmichael and a lot of other people that's part of this thing. And if you know, you know. I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but uh, they led this thing where, just picture, in a time where there was no cell phones and literally it was the technology of a camera was so new to them that the price of it was still high. So the average Joe just didn't have a
Right,
camera. You
facts.
feel what I'm saying? Or at least not a good one. Or at least you didn't carry one around just for civil right things to happen. But just for some reason in the 1950s in a certain time period, it just exploded with propaganda of people just recording. And this wasn't planned out by any black groups or anything. This was planned out by a different group to show a propaganda for something else, for a movement that we didn't have anything to push. They were pushing integration for our money. They were
It's,
pushing integration for our land because we were giving up the last of our lands.
I definitely understand that, but I
Facts.
want to know why did we fall into that trap to
Oh, why did we fall
to
into the trap? I thought you was asking where
like
did they come
how? You
from?
know what I'm saying? Like we supposed to know the game already. You know what I'm saying? Like if we been here, we supposed to know that
Mhm.
they intentions ain't pure, they less than, you know what I'm saying?
Because as far as we
Like how you said, like is videos of people getting punched in the face and spit on just so they can eat white pie. Oh
mhm.
sure. They don't even season their food. Why you want that? Oh sure.
So if you look up the, let's say, the statistics of that, and not to undermine anybody that went through it, but the statistics of it, it only happened in a couple times. We're talking about the towns that got flooded. Why did the towns get flooded versus the integration? Think about it. 20 years, 30 years before that, they just flooded town. So we talking about 1919, 1924, 1921 with the Tesla, everything. They getting bombed. 30 years later, they want to integrate with us, or we want to integrate with them out of nowhere after they just bombed our fathers. At that time, they were our fathers. They weren't even our grandfathers as we're speaking.
Mm-hmm.
That was literally their last lineage of what was going on. And you will have to think the same way that young people now control the next world of the politics because there's so many of us that can vote. It's a lot of 18-year olds versus a lot of fucking 50, 80-year olds that can get out their crib and vote. It's a lot of young motherfuckers that's out here, way versus old people that's mobile than young people, and they drive the next force of society and culture. We make the rules based on how we feel, just like we see the rules of how did they go. How you can't say a racial slur or any type of slur without getting fined because of the people's cry for it, which means the young culture, the pop culture, really don't really know their power. But we've been had it since
You can
Black
say
Panthers. We've been had it
any
since.
slur. It's you just can't be anti-Semitic or you can't talk about kids with disabilities
So no, that's
or
actually
people who identify as other things.
exactly. So that's what I was finna get into. So you can say,
You can say anything you want on this podcast, man, but leave them transmissions alone, man.
hey, look, but to just speak on that, but keep it on subject. Look, we we also was under that Obama law that protected the LGB, right? We was also under that law
A lot
because
of
the
people say
law.
that was his mission.
But look, check this out. The mission
Gave
was,
them laws.
but everybody say them. I want to just point this out to everybody. The law just prohibits slurs. So you were the one that still let the Latino community still say nigga, 6ix9ine and everybody else at the time. Everybody else stood on business on literally if you disrespected what the fuck they was, they literally spoke out loud, yelled at you, put it on camera, sent you to jail, made sure you went to jail and everything. We hear other people say nigga and we still go about our
That's
day.
because
We didn't stand on business, but we were still under the same law. We don't stand on business. Just like when I asked you earlier, man, in hindsight, did we take heed to that counselor? No. Our culture did not take heed
that's
to the
because
counselor.
niggas don't have no culture. A majority of niggas' culture is American, like culture, society. Like niggas can't go back and be like, I know my grandma from 1900, her brother. Niggas don't got that on shorty. So it's like the culture now is business, you know what I'm saying, to the clout and letting people being involved in everything. You got niggas think Eminem the best rapper alive on shorty. And that's just the world we live in. Like
Lil
we
Wayne,
we
y'all.
so big instead of building ourselves up. Like it's some issue with that we gotta let everybody involved into everything we got going on. When they don't let everything into what they got going on, they'll invite us to everything they got going on. But we gotta make them apart. But that's a whole nother conversation too, man.
That's why I said it's the age gap barrier where when you remember when you was like 10 and you couldn't wait to be 13 because for some reason 13 was that age. You get to 13 and now 16 is that age because now you can associate it with driving. Now 16 you're driving, but now you can't go to this place where you want to go because all your other now 18 is the thing. We get to these things in our life where it's just idealistic, where these kids' real life are at these pipes in their life where they can't see past the age that they at. And I understand that. I understand where to if I know that's why you got to keep your lower self with your higher self. You got to keep a balance. You cannot throw away your lower self because you got to be able to recognize when somebody else is lower and come down to their level in order to raise them up. So you always got to keep a balance of that good and that evil. That I think that's why every cartoon used to put the devil and the angel on the shoulder. Because why wouldn't everybody just have an angel?
Mm-hmm.
You dig what I'm saying? You yourself will be the damn bad thought. Why would the angel just not be there giving you the good thought? But in every cartoon they gave you both, and I had to always think about that shit. I think about every little thing in life. I ain't even gonna lie to you, but for real.
For sure, definitely think about every little thing. Especially that shit changed for me when I had kids. So I started thinking about every little thing on
Every
sure.
little thing.
So before you get up out of here, man, let's talk about what you got going on right now, man. So what you pushing today, man? What you got going on? What you done put together and explain how it can help the people.
So this whole what do I even want to call this, man? Because it's bigger than just the idea. It's bigger than just the movement of just wanting to get people together.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even have a word, or I don't even want to box it in right now to even put a
Okay.
word on it. But I will explain the action of what I want the mission to be.
Mm-hmm.
What I want the mission to be is for men to start acting like men. And that's not idealistically off somebody else's, stature of what we think men is or are. A man is somebody who take care of their business, has some integrity. The integrity could be whatever they deem is a part of their household, they command the change. But other than that, I'm just trying to change society due to the youth. The youth is where we got to start for sure. We got to start with the youth. These young men definitely don't know how to. You said you got a 9-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
9-year-old son, right?
Daughter.
Daughter?
Yeah.
Do your
Son, three.
daughter even better? Damn, that's crazy. You got two of them. So look, do your kids see you in a natural setting like grocery shopping, picking up the fruit, versus when mommy pick up the fruit or pick up the lotion? It's a way big different stature where the little things count in a kid's life to just see a man do it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially a rare man like a black man do something so natural as if so humbling. You get what I'm saying? Grocery was just the first thing off the top. Don't get me wrong, y'all. My bad. But just something so humbling, you know what I'm saying? Like me, a couple minutes ago I mentioned just fixing my son's bike. Something what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? But just humbling. It brings you back down. My favorite phrase is even birds got to come down to eat. You know what I'm saying? Even the humblest of us, even the highest of us and the lowest of us got to come back down the middle ground and eat.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We all got to eat. So we all got to common ground somewhere. And that's what I want people to realize of just overstanding the situation in the present. As a man, we got insight. Women have intuition. Insight means you just got the power to see forward. You know how to think out a plan. You know how to really get away with some shit without copying the way somebody else got away with some shit, because your ass gonna get caught. Whatever you doing. But being sneaky ain't the way to go. Gangster shit was really done, because niggas knew who the gangsters was because that nigga did some gangster shit. It wasn't no pretty boy who shoot throw his gun. It wasn't a tough, dirty nigga who really dance or some shit. I don't know. But the opposite of what he portrays. And that's what I really see going on today, because you can't tell me that, people still, my bad to diss anybody in the industry, but man, I'm not with the fingernail polish.
What? I'm not with none of that
You
shit.
get what
I'm
I'm
sure
saying?
my
So
son can't want no Uggs, none of that shit.
you feel me? But we
That's why I feel like dude been losing games. I'm sure you got your damn fingernail like a I mean, I'm finna say, see, I'm finna say too much already on the damn.
But
But
then,
yeah, man.
but then I go to like a skate park or some shit and see the skate culture got all their nails polished, and I be like, I can't say shit.
But I don't know. But then I still look at it start at home. My son, you can skateboard your ass off, but you not painting your nails. I'm sure you can paint your nails when you pay your bills and you not living. You can paint your nails. But my son, as long as you under my rule, you can't paint your nails. When you ain't on my, you do what the fuck you want to do.
And even a lot of
Skateboard your
parents scared
ass
to do
off.
that. A lot of parents scared to do that because you got a 9-year old just like I got a
D
9-year-old,
Wade.
10-year-old. They scared to lose certain type of love depending on the type of person they is because you should never do any basis based on a negative thing because eventually it burns out. So I'll give an example. You should never want to be a good basketball player because somebody else was weak. So you don't want your draft to be something that you can obtain because once you obtain it, you lose the draft for it. So you never want to move off a negative because that shit eventually burns the fuck out. Everything should be driven off of pure love for some shit. And that's why people fail most of the time in this life or in this world just because of they try to do the wrong thing the right way or the right way the wrong way. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, it always backfire, but everything real niggas still prevail. Like I'm telling you, shout out to Kendrick. I'm trying to tell you, Kendrick is one of them people that got me back sparked to even talk because I see people I publicly aware and listening to what's going on. Not just because of fuck the Drake allegations or subject, just the subject matter of the conversation that it sparked for people in their house, in their everyday car. You know what I'm saying? Even if Drake was their favorite artist, they still went into the poetry of it, the science of what people said. It got back down to real hip hop. So it got back down to people talking again. It got down to people really want to know what the fuck you about. Well, at least it's getting back that way. That's what the fuck I see. Y'all listen out for that shit though. Nino Miller on all platforms for sure. My first song on this shit. The name of the mixtape is Inertia. I'm not gonna tell y'all what that mean. Go look it up. I swear it means something deep. Of course. But it's not, trust me, my image, iced out. Like I said, I'm tatted. So of course I got a little image. Of course I got a little sound that go with the image. Of course I got a message that go with the whole thing, but y'all will hear that shit. That shit raw as hell for sure. Trust me, I'm getting some plays on my iTunes. Trust me. So
For sure, man. I'll be remiss, you know what I'm saying? We name dropped him a couple times. This Kendrick Lamar and Drake thing, man. And just the Kendrick Lamar thing. Now,
that's been a big thing for me. Big thing. Shout out to Demo. That's been a big thing. And Tone. Oh, bro.
the Like Us song was good. It was a good song. I probably heard it like a couple times. Altogether, I probably listen to more Drake than I have Kendrick. Kendrick, I listened to Kendrick when he had that the swimming pools and all that shit. That
Oh, that's what you
pull up,
meant. I thought you
drink.
meant during the beef. Okay,
Oh
okay.
no, not the one to beef. Like I Drake, he went to, I don't know what the fuck he doing now, but I think I think people doing a little bit. I think they putting a little bit too much on Kendrick now. Like I've been hearing like with the Super Bowl
Blame
thing.
yourself.
Cause like the
Steady hitting
even
that
with the
swing.
Super Bowl thing, like with the Super Bowl thing, like bro, I understand he got a hot song,
For
bro.
sure.
But Wayne is the GOAT. Like people talking about the Super Bowl was in New Orleans in '97. Wayne wasn't who he is now in '97 or 2003 or all them years when the Super Bowl. He wasn't
Yeah.
is who he is now.
'Cause it was just more recent. It was
And
like
for a dude to have a
2019 or
hot
some shit.
song and for you to overlook the culture, like Wayne probably made Kendrick. He probably
No,
made
facts.
him.
Facts. Everybody give Wayne homage, don't get me wrong, but we can't meet
In this new generation, it's just about now. Kendrick, Kendrick, just Drake. We finna put him in the Super Bowl, but Wayne, he deserved that shit.
I don't even think it's like I think it's well deserved, but I think it is like this one of them things.
Propaganda not.
This one of them things what I'm gonna have to, even though I don't do it with Kendrick, my bad, but this gonna have to be one of them propaganda things where he got handed something where it just went hand to hand with the timing. Um, the song speak for itself, and the numbers for the other songs in the disc speak for itself. They actually do numbers and did numbers still to actually say this dude is actually charting and beating out your favorite. So you got to give him a recognition at least somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Drake, my favorite Drake diss battle man was I want to say not drop. Was it Drop and Give Me 50? That second one, it was like 8 minutes, but it's the last 5 minutes. When I say that's the coldest Drake I've ever heard, bro. That shit was hard. He damn near could have beat him if he kept that flow. But the shit, it brought back, like I said, it bring back real hip hop from both ends just because it shows the artistry of you can be two different aspects of an artist and bring in people from culture, age, from subject matter to substance made.
The reason why Kendrick won, Drake got the talent.
That's what I wanted to hear.
Drake got the talent. Kendrick got the talent and the culture. I don't care how good you rap, Eminem. You know what I'm saying? If you don't got the culture, it's a difference. You don't
My
got the
homie
culture.
always asks, "You ever heard somebody just down the street bumping Eminem?"
Eminem got bars. He a lyrical genius. But I ain't never been in no situation, nowhere in my 32 years of life where somebody like, hey, play that Eminem. I even played some Eminem. Eminem Show was one of my favorite albums of all time.
Facts.
But I've never been. He don't get no. You know what I'm saying? It's a difference when you got the culture behind you.
You ain't never lied because I think that's why Tupac's DMX, a lot of people that went to street parties and you hear those stories about him just helping random people. The Cat Williams, even if he's not a rapper, but those people who still get back to that homage to the streets, they get grounded, got a different type of fan base or a core fan, a cult following, goddamn it, because they really touched the soul. Like if Cat Williams or any famous
Yeah.
motherfucker that walked
Right.
through this door and showed some
You
humbling
can
type of
feel that
spirit.
shit. You can feel that shit through the cameras, through the microphones, through the earphones. You feel that shit
Fact.
on Shorty. And that's the only thing that saved Drake ass is he not from America. He got a whole country behind him. If that nigga was from New York, that one song would have ended his career, Shorty. If that nigga was from Florida, that
Hey.
song would have ended his career,
I
Shorty.
ain't never even think about that.
He would have
Hey.
on Shorty. Him
Hey.
from being from another country, only thing that saved his ass on Shorty.
I never thought about that, but how do we even feel about that? Because how much research do we do on the people that we glorify? To the point that after we find out the truth, do we stop listening? What power is that?
To the extent of once you find out type shit like chaos type shit on Shorty. Like
Free Uncle Kels. He ain't my real uncle, but you know what I'm saying? I still listen to Kels.
to some certain extent. I don't play him, but I ain't gonna fly and say like the man he ain't no lyrical genius, you know what I'm saying? I just ain't no big R&B dude, but the man he clearly a master, you know what I'm saying? But
He set the pace for what we know in the 2000s of just how to flex, how to just craft music and what it was to just people from Chicago are so Chicago. Have you noticed that, bro?
yeah, I noticed that.
No matter how famous, you could still tell somebody from Chicago.
I noticed that, and I noticed it. I noticed it. I'm making documentaries coming up. I got a footworking documentary.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
sure
okay.
I got a documentary. I want to do a documentary with like the old, you know what I'm saying, chiefs and shit like that. You know what I'm saying. Anybody I can get in contact with. You know what I'm saying. But just real. Like I want to put
knowledge,
the
get
real
some history.
people in front of the camera with the real knowledge. You know what I'm saying. Like who behind these people you glorifying shit, who made the shit they a part of, you know what I'm saying, and why they made it. You know what I'm saying? You think Shorty and them they mission to catch hats when this was all started, you know what I'm saying, to keep the community safe, you know what I'm saying? Type shit. But
And we even gotta ask ourselves what was so dangerous in the community that the kids had to form gangs. Like I don't think we think about that. That these people, these gang leaders at the time were teenagers. What would make the fathers not be in the house and not defend? Were they working too much to not defend? What was actually in those streets that we had to defend that the kids had to hop out? Like today, we ask ourselves, what are the kids out there for today? We clearly see that it's out there, they out there gang banging. They out there trying to shoot each other. We actually see they enemy. I cannot think on it, and I hope you get somebody from that time period to real life. Like, what was your enemy? If you started this, if you was back there when it started like this, why didn't your father do it? Why didn't your big uncle do it? Why did it take the children to start a gang of this time to actually protect the neighborhood? I always ask myself those simple little complex questions.
you know, partly what I think, you know what I'm saying, because you know, Chicago is like people always like to say like black people, black on black crime, black people with gangs and shit, but Chicago is like a cultural gangster city. Like the
Facts.
shorties, like back then, you know what I'm saying? They was watching Al Capone and them. They was doing drive bys and blowing up. They taught us how to gang
Facts.
bang, but they gave
Italians.
them poor Italians. They gave them the firefighter jobs and shit like that, and we became the people who was pushing. They was pushing the alcohol. We became the drug pushers. The same corners they was standing on. It was all white people in this neighborhood on Shorty. We
Shit.
got they gave us their old neighborhoods, moved to the suburbs on Shorty. We
You
just
just reminded me what the parents was. This during the time of heroin and crack, right in the 80s,
yeah, that
60s, 70s, 80s.
what?
I forgot what the parents was. On the damn corner, goddammit.
They said you was either
Exploitation,
they said you
goddammit.
was smoking or selling it, guys.
You hear me? This doing the black exploitation
Yeah,
and this
for
doing
sure.
everything. So
That's another thing, brother. You gonna have to definitely slide back, cause on Shorty, I talked to them motherfuckers saying, "My niggas before crack niggas was living like the Cosbys allegedly on Shorty." I say that shit.
you
Fuck.
could say the Cosby's is our time. I could still say it's 80s, 90s. I got to give it to the Jeffersons.
Mm-hmm.
The Jeffersons, or I can't give it to good times. Hell no, I can't give it to good times. But I can give it to like a 227. I can give it to like a, you know what I'm saying, a what's happening, where people were average.
Definitely what's happening.
You know what I'm
for sure.
saying? They were really going to work, or they had their average penny to themselves just like everybody else today. I think, like I said, when it comes unrelatable to us is when they put it in black and white, even though it wasn't black and white. So in your mind, psychology tells us that we associate it with something that's old, even though it don't have to be. Mentally, it's just how we picture it because it's how we've been programmed. But once we literally analyze everything, like I said, when it comes down to word, it's called the etymology. I don't know what the breakdown of fucking life is. What is it? Biology or something? Like for real, for real?
I think it is biology.
Like for real, but the real life biology of everything down to the atom, down to the science, down to the situation. Because, like I said,
Allegedly, I don't know no answers for sure. You know
I
what
was
I'm
about to say,
saying?
damn, my whole phone sounds stupid, stupid, smart, dumb, stupid, goofy.
Shorty.
But uh, it just shows that you are aware of the present. That just always goes back to that. You just showing that you're aware of the present if you are able to analyze, and you are a God body if you are able to use your insight to say, damn, I've been through this situation before. I know how to get out of it before I even get in it. You act in God body, and that's what I want people to really operate in because you could do that as a kid. I'm here to say that I'm one of the ones that tapped in just because I listened, just because I tried, just because somebody put me on in a direction to say it and do it.
For sure.
That's it. So that's my agenda, man. Just everybody just need to be themselves and shit. That's
Yeah,
it.
man, for sure, man. I definitely gonna have you slide back on me, man. I'm gonna write some questions down for you, man. I'm gonna invite my Israelite homie. He gonna be on the other mic, man, and we gonna be up here. We gonna get us a drink and we gonna just collab, man. On
Just
short.
as you can see, man, I can always keep my composure.
Just rap on short.
We didn't get to it this time, but Israelite homie, I don't know how you coming, man. I don't know if he gonna zoom in. But
You gonna make me clip this shit tonight and send it to.
you feel me? These magazines are original from, 1900s, 1940s, 1930s, right after the World War. So it was just propaganda of how, man, I wish we would have cracked open this book, but we will.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot of stuff. I ain't even gonna say what's in there, but
Yeah, this is definitely the first meeting of many, man. It was definitely nice meeting you. Just again, before you slide, let people know where they can find you on social media and all that good shit.
oh yeah, for sure, man. So you can find me on all platforms, no matter where. I'm talking about down to the TikTok, down to the damn MySpace, damn there still. Nino Miller, NINOMILLER. Literally every platform. You can find the tatted motherfucker with the music. But really search my shit on iTunes though. Nino Miller still. So, holla at me.
For sure. That's a wrap. Appreciate your time. It's the most valuable thing we got. That's why we trying to book motherfuckers. In a minute. Gang.